Let's look at the different dividend policies that you need to know about. So the first one is the constant payout. So for instance, every year a company pays out R2 per dividend, or R2 per share. So after a few years of paying R2 per share, shareholders are expecting that R2 every year. As soon as the company then pays slightly less than that, shareholders might think, but wait, they've paid R2 every year. Why are they suddenly paying less? Is it because they've got cash flow problems? Is the company's growth slowing down? Is there problems with the expected future revenue, or customers not paying, or contracts that's not coming through, or investment opportunities that they can't find, whatever. If they change that constant payout, shareholders might get worried. On the other hand, also, if they start increasing the payout to R2.50 in a specific year, shareholders might not know, this the permanent increase, and now it's going to be R2.50 every year instead of R2, or it's just once off. So companies need to be very careful with the signal that they're sending out. And it's not always a conscious signal that they're sending. It might be inadvertently that they're sending a signal, and they'll never know for sure. So here's an example of a constant payout. R2 per share dividend every year with the earnings fluctuating. You can see the earnings increases every year, but the dividend stays R2. The next policy, different policy, might be the constant ratio. So for instance, 50% of the earnings per share. So 50% of the earnings are paid out as a dividend. So in this case, let's see, I think we can actually calculate the payout ratio. I think it was done here. So the earnings per share is R4.58. Dividend per share is R3.05 in the first year. And that's, let's just see, yes, 2/3 of the earnings. And you can see every year it stays 2/3. So if the earnings per share goes up to R5.20, 2/3 of that is R3.47. And when earnings in the third year is R5.87, so 2/3 of that is R3.91. So a constant payout ratio is just a certain proportion of profit or earnings are paid out as a dividend. We can also translate into dividend cover. So the dividend cover is just the reciprocal of the payout ratio. So here we just divide the earnings by the dividend. So how many times does our profit per share or earnings per share cover the dividend? In this case, it's 1.5 times. So you'll see there, earnings divided by dividend, 1.5. So in this case, shareholders after a couple of years will start expecting this 2/3 of profit. So when they see a reported earnings per share of R6, they'll expect a dividend of 2/3 of that, which will obviously be R4. We can test that if you want. So 2/3 of R6. So if the company then pays less than R4, they'll see it as, the shareholders will see it as something's wrong. They paid less than what they paid in the past. And managers or directors need to be careful with this, with basically messing with the dividend policy over time. So once this expectations has been set, it has to be actively managed. So in this case, if the company pays a R3.50 dividend in this fourth year, the share price will more than likely fall as a result of it. And then what if they pay no dividend because maybe they need the cash for expansion? Then they'll have to very clearly communicate it, because the investors are expecting 2/3 of the profit to be paid out. So if nothing's paid out, they're going to think something big is wrong, even though there might be a very good reason for retaining the dividend. Then, remember, so maybe in some years, companies has a very good year. Maybe the industry had a growth spurt. There was a big contract that came through. Anything could have happened, and let's assume the earnings went up to R8, and now there's lots of excess cash, and the company can't utilize all the cash because they can't find enough investments that has positive NPVs, or it's just practically impossible to use all of it. Now they want to pay out a higher dividend. Remember, the expected dividend, if there was a constant payout ratio in this case, would have been R4. Oh, sorry, in this case, if the earnings per share is R8, it would be 2/3 of 8 rand, so 5 rand 33, that would be the expected dividend. So what if they want to pay out a 7 rand dividend? So if they suddenly pay out a 7 rand dividend, let's see what happens. The payout ratio goes up to 88% instead of the expected 67, and now shareholders don't know what to do with this information. They might be thinking, well, is this permanent now? Do we expect 88% next year? So in this case, a company could employ a combination of a constant payout plus a bonus dividend. So what they do is they pay out the normal expected 2/3 of the earnings, and then the difference of R1.64 per share they pay out as a bonus dividend. Ooh, that's not bonus. A bonus dividend. This way, shareholders see, yeah, we got our 2/3 of earnings, and there's a special dividend or bonus dividend, and the company can announce why the bonus is paid out, so the shareholders know not to expect the bonus dividend in future.